In this video, I'm going to explain to you a couple of things that slow down fat loss. I've noticed this from working with people in person and online, and it's consistent across both. So the first thing is not tracking at the weekends. So it's easy to track Monday to Thursday, Monday to Friday. You've got the routine, you've got work, maybe you've got your meal prep done, and then it comes to the weekend and you just don't have a system yet to manage things, or maybe you see some great success and then you decide at the weekends, I won't bother tracking. I have a rough idea of what's in the foods I'm eating, and it's so easy to fall into this pattern. And then what can happen is, like, say you go out at the weekend, maybe you have a meal out, you enjoy it, you have a pizza, a couple of drinks, maybe you have a takeaway the next day, and you're in a 500 calorie deficit Monday to Thursday. You could easily wipe that out in like 2 days of enjoying yourself at the weekend without planning. And a phrase I've heard a lot from people is, I feel like I should be losing weight. I'm eating healthy. I feel like I should be losing weight. But then you speak to them, or maybe you look at the MyFitnessPal diary, and then you notice there's a pattern of maybe there's only 3 to 4 days tracked during the week. So although you feel like you should be losing weight, you're not actually tracking the data. And there's like a good bit of research on it that as humans we grossly underestimate how much we're eating, and it's not by choice. It's just we're shit at estimating things, unfortunately. And they even did a couple of studies where they were looking at nutritionists whose job is all about nutrition, food, what's in food, you name it, and they were underreporting what they're eating as well, sometimes in cases by 40 to 60%. So it's no wonder that, like, when you're out at the weekend, maybe you think there's less calories in what you're eating, but there actually isn't. So get tracking at the weekend. That's the number one thing. And like 3 days of not tracking is like what, 30-40% of your week. So you've got 40% of your total food intake just completely unaccounted for if you're not tracking at the weekend. So I notice it can really slow people down as well. The other thing is not weighing yourself consistently. So maybe you weigh yourself on a Monday, and then like 10 days, 14 days later, you weigh yourself again. And if the scales is up, that pisses you off. It leaves you in a bad mood. And then you decide to adjust things based on that single weigh-in. And like not weighing yourself consistently, you just, again, you won't be able to see the data. You won't be able to see is what you're doing working. So like with your weight trends, you want to be looking at a weekly average. Like you don't want to put any stock into one single weigh-in. So you'd look at your current week's average weight and compare that to your previous week's average weight, because there will be fluctuations in there up or down for a variety of reasons. Maybe you have more carbs on a particular day, will cause your body to hold more water. Maybe at a higher salty meal, a heavy training session, a hard training session can cause your body to hold more water. So if you were just weighing yourself like every 10 to 14 days, and then you're banking on like a certain weigh-in telling you what you want to see, it's not going to work out. And it just means as you weigh yourself consistently, there is a lot of research on it too, that people who weigh themselves consistently tend to lose weight faster and keep it off for longer. And it's just like such a good habit to get into, because as you finish the fat loss phase, you get into the reverse diet, you maybe go into a surplus where you're building more muscle. That is the number one, or one of the most important skills that you can learn, because then at least if calories are a bit too high or a bit too low, you can just see the weight trends very quickly and you can adjust things a lot quicker then as well. And the other thing is taking too long to get back into it after social events, weekends away, holidays, whatever it is. And how I manage this with clients is generally, depending on the person, we'll make a plan before, during, and after. So before, it could look like, depending on what phase they're in, dropping calories for a couple of days in the lead up to the event. If they really want to achieve this goal, well then something's going to have to give during the week if they do want to like have a bit of excess at the weekends. So that's depending on the individual. But then also during the event, like if it's eaten out, I notice sometimes people maybe feel like they don't have as much control as they do. They're kind of just at the mercy of the menu and they think there's nothing under their control. But even simple things like just swapping chips for veg, I know it sounds boring, but like if you want to get a result in as quick a time as possible, some of these small trade-offs are going to have to be made. So you'd still be able to go out. It's not like you don't have to go out, but just have to be a little bit smarter about what you're doing. Maybe your breakfast and your lunch is a little bit smaller during the day before you go out for a meal, and then getting back to it. Getting back to it after an event. What I say to clients is just like, tell me what day you're going to get back into it. So maybe they're out on a Saturday, they have a meal out. the few pints. Sunday's a rest day. Then Monday, we're right back into it. And when you reduce the time between like an event or holiday, social event, whatever it is, and getting back to it, you'll see way faster progress. Whereas if you're going into an event and you're taking 3-4 days to recover and like get back on track and have your nutrition sorted and in order, every time you go out, you're losing nearly up to a week. And like if you repeated that over a couple of months or even over a couple of years, you're just missing out so much, and it can really, really slow down the progress as well. And then kind of what I touched on there, another thing is just not planning for events, like not doing anything in the lead up to it, depending on what the goal is for the actual event, not having a couple of ideas of what you'd like to do. Maybe if you're out for dinner, maybe that looks like you just have a starter and a main, or a main and a dessert on that particular day. Maybe you look ahead at the menu and have a rough idea of what's on the menu, so you have a fair idea of what to eat. You can maybe see is there any swaps that you might want to make on that particular day. It just helps you feel a lot more in control then, rather than being at the mercy of just going out with no plan. And you know, with no plan, it can just lead you to overeat and then like be annoyed with yourself. No plan to get back into it, and that's what really slows people down. So if you find like any of these things do trip you up, or you just don't know how to manage them, there's some free value in my newsletter below, where you can also subscribe and find out more about coaching slots, and email newsletters will always get priority on future coaching slots as well.